Hey there, guys. Amos' signature here. Welcome back to my YouTube channel. If you would like to see how we created this beautiful melanin bridal look, kindly stay to the end of this video and you'll see how I created this look on my model. And if you are still not subscribed to my channel yet, please subscribe, like, comment. Thank you. So, first things first, I always start with hydration. I had done the first step of hydration behind off camera, so I used a hydrating spray. And next up, I went in with a moisturizer. I used the Cetaphil moisturizer here. That is like one of my favorite moisturizers of all time. It just works for me, and that I've been using for a long time now. Next up, I went in with a toner. I used the simple toner here. I just applied the toner on the T-zones to suck in oil and to also mattify those areas and to also prepare it for my mattifying primer later. So I applied that using the cotton pad and blended into the T-zones. Next up, I went in with a grip primer. This one is from Mismetics. Applied the grip primer all over. And next thing, I went in with a mattifying primer. I mattified only the T-zone area because I didn't want shine on those areas. And she also had like a combination skin. So where the T-zones tend to be oily, so I had to go in with a mattifying primer. So that is basically the skin prep I did for this look. I just blended everything into place and went straight into foundation, picked her correct foundation shade. I always start by applying with a brush. These days I just prefer it. There was a time where I was really a fan of just going with only beauty blenders, but now I prefer first of all going with my brush, then now go in later with my beauty blender to blend it all in. Now you can see what the foundation match looks like. So next thing I went in to do my wet contouring and I used a foundation shade 2 shades darker than hers, and I blended that to the hollows of the cheek, the temples, and I just extended it to the outer corner of her eye because I wanted like a proper eye lift. So that's what you see me doing now, just blending that into the outer part of the eyes. Next up, went in with blush, cream blush, and I used a mixture of an orange and a red blush because I wanted something. I feel like orange really works on dark skin. It works on almost every skin, but like I think it really works on dark skin. So that's what the blend looks like there. Had to blend it all in, and next thing I went in with concealer. For concealer, I used the Younger Beauty concealer here. So I first of all blended the forehead and the chin area before I went in to do the other parts of the face. So just make sure that you always blend in. What you blend is what you get. So that's the secret to a well blended makeup. I applied under the eyes, still using the same Younger concealer, the same shade that I used for the forehead and the chin, and then I blended that in with a beauty sponge. Just gently press that into the skin until you have like until it starts looking like another skin. I mean, that is what makeup is supposed to look like. So it's supposed to be like skin, it shouldn't look different. So I just kept blending that in until I had the coverage and the blend that I was going for. So one tip to doing makeup on dark skin is that whenever you're picking your shades, foundation, concealers, always try to stay within the person's shade. So don't go too far. You have no business using like 3 shades lighter when you are selecting your concealers. So very important. So after I blended the concealer, I went in to set with a compact powder. So I do this sometimes just to give like a proper under eye blend. Blended that with a brush and a compact powder. So just to set like to first of all set the concealer around that area before I go in with the setting or loose powder later. Next up, I went in with the setting powder. This one was from Mira Cosmetics, and I think this was cinnamon. I'm not very sure, but it was from Mira Cosmetics. So I just blended this onto every area as I applied the concealer to, and made sure that I was using very thin layers. Next up, I went with powder and I blended the whole thing together. After powder, I went in with dry contouring, or you can as well say powder contouring. I applied that to the whole of the cheek. So this basically the same areas that I contoured with my wet contouring or with the foundation. It's the same areas that I'm applying this dry contour to. So the whole of the cheek, the temples, and also extended it to the outer corner of the eye. And after that, I added blush, powder blush, to the same areas that I applied the wet blush or the cream blush, whichever one. Next up, I went in and I set the whole face with my setting spray. So this is just to melt everything into one layer. Now you can see what the outcome looks like. So this is the end of the skin work, and everything is looking all blended. Nothing is standing out, nothing is like hanging. Your blush, your contours, your highlights, they're all blended into each other. So now for eyeshadow, before I always do my shadow, because I'll be doing like a glittery eye, I went in to apply loose powders on the under the eye so it catches whichever fallout I get from my eyeshadow. And then I started with the dark base. So here I used the Carite gel liner as my base. So I wanted like a smoke effect on that, so that the color that I'm going to put on top of it would pop out. So I plan on doing like a silvery eye. So after I applied the base, I went in with the dark brown eyeshadow to set that base, because the base was a cream. So I had to go over it with powder to set it in place and to make sure that it doesn't crease or move. So that's the essence of doing the powder after the cream. I hope that makes sense. After that, I went in with a softer brown shade to blend the corners of the first brown I applied, so there are no harsh lines. And next up, I applied, sorry I lost that clip, I applied the glitter primer before going in with the pigments. So I'm just applying the silver pigments over the areas that I applied the primer to, the glitter primer. So only the areas, if you look closely, you can see that there's like a portion of the eye that is marked out with the glitter primer. So that is the areas that I applied the pigments to. I didn't extend it. I made sure that I was within that frame. So guys, remember, if you are still not subscribed to my channel, please kindly do so now. Subscribe, like, drop your comments. If you have any questions, if you have any requests, kindly leave them in the comment box, and I will try my very best to attend to them. So next thing, I went in with a black eyeshadow. I wanted to like deepen the crease of her eyes, so that it gives the illusion that she has like very deep eye crease. So that was why I went in with this black, and also blend out the harsh lines from the pigments that I applied, so it just blends into the eye shadow color, the browns and the blacks that I used before. So I blended this all in with the black just on the crease. Then I went in to smoke the bottom and the lower lash line rather. So I went in with the black that I had just used, and I applied that to the lower lash line to create like a smoke effect under. I feel like there's just this look that when you smoke out the lower lash line, there's just this sultry look that it gives. It just makes the eye come out looking more sexy, more glam. So you would always find me doing that. So next up, I couldn't record the brows. Permit me, guys. Next time, I'm going to try my best to do like a proper brow tutorial. So next up, I went in with a brown lip liner. So I just wanted to. I was lining the lip. So I lined the lip with a brown lip liner, and as I'm lining, I'm also blending like the same time to make sure because it's dry. It's a liquid lipstick, so I wanted it to. I didn't want it to dry off before I start blending. And then I went back to the nose to contour the nose. I always only do powder contouring on the nose. I never really do cream contour on the nose. It just works for me. I mean, makeup is what works for you, you get. So, whichever one works for you. I'm not saying any is better than the other, but this is what works for me. So, I blended that and then I went back into the lip. So, I took I think a peach. I started with like a very light peach, yeah, from my lipstick palette, and I applied that using the blending brush. Blended that into the browns, blended that, and then make sure that the two colors came into each other and they were in harmony. So then I went back into the face and then had to do like a final blend of everything. So I went back to intensify my blush a little. Now, when I was creating this look, what I really wanted to stand out, or one of the things that I really wanted to like be the focal point was the blush. I really wanted like her face to be blushed out. So that was why I went back to intensify it more, add more, and make it pop more. Then after that, I blended the setting powder I had placed under her eyes. Now, when you are doing this, you want to press it in. You don't want to sweep the powders away. So you want to press it in. You know, it has sat on the skin for a while. So you want to press it in. So when you press it in, what it does is like it enhances the highlight you did under the eyes rather than you swiping it off. So you press that in with like a small powder brush or a big blending brush. So whichever one works for you. That was what I was doing here, and just blending that into the other parts of the center of her face, if that makes any sense. So under her eyes, her cupid bow area, then her chin area, and then next up I went in with highlighter. So I applied the highlighters. I don't know how I lost that clip. Okay, I applied the highlighters on the forehead, the high points of her cheek, the chin, the nose, and now I went in with a colored gloss to pop out my lipstick. So I didn't want to do too much earlier because I know that I was still going to add gloss on the lip, and you see the difference that the lip gloss just made now. I'm going back with the brown and like a different colored gloss to blend the top, the outer part of her lip. So I'm just blending that into the first peach lip gloss that I applied, and then I went back in with the brown that I had lined her lip with earlier. So now I'm lining the lip all over again. Now I found this trick to be very helpful because I feel like it just takes your lipstick game from like 10 to like 100. So when you do this, like after you have done, especially when you are doing gloss, after you've applied your gloss all over the lip, go in with the if it was a brown you used in lining the lip earlier, go in with that brown again and reline the lip. So you're just creating that line again. So you see how it just like pops up the lip, takes it from 10 to 100. Trust me. So I did that for the bottom and the top also, and blended that into the pitch I had already applied. So next up, I went in to do her lower lashes. So the lighting changed because I had to take out redirect the light away from her face so she doesn't tear up. So that's like a useful tip if you're working on someone that has a teary eyes and you want to work on the eyes, maybe you want to line or you want to apply mascara. I would advise like you direct the light from their face so it doesn't make them tear up. So that's one trick that has been working for me for the longest of time. So now you see what we have. We're almost done with the look. Um, so yeah, model is just feeling herself and looking all pretty. So you see how we preserved her tone. We didn't go overboard. Now highlights are just slightly popping. She doesn't look different. Her color doesn't look different. You see when she turns to the side, the shades match. So I went in with a powder just to like mattify the under eye more, like to dry it out more because I had already done my setting spray and all. So I just went with the powder and to also pop up my highlight just a little more, nothing too much. So you see what that looks like. Now this right here is the finished look, guys. Now see how beautiful that looks. Look at that eyes. Look at the skin match. I mean, in every lighting, you can see how the lighting changed in these videos because I explored different types of lighting. You can see how her skin matches, her face and her body is still in the same tone. Everything was retained. Now for me, I feel like that is the best way makeup is done, when you can retain the tone. So guys, if you're still not subscribed, if you want to see more videos like this, kindly hit the subscribe button, drop a comment, like, share this video, and it's a wrap, guys. I'll be seeing you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.